Indeed, the 32, and this week we're in Lambeth. Harry, of course, is over there doing the Lord's work. Harry, how are you?
Morning, Salma, from the box office at the Young Vic Theatre. I'm well. How are you?
Oh, good. No, I'm very well. I'm hoping that you've had something more unhealthy to eat, but we'll get to that later. In the box office, you selling tickets? You buying one? You're just chilling out there?
I'm not selling any tickets yet, but I have actually got some credit to use here. So I am planning to come back because a cancelled show from last year due to COVID is still in the bank, as it were. But yeah, it's fantastic here, Salma. I'm very happy to be at my favourite theatre.
I was going to say you love it, don't you? Is it actually your favourite theatre in London?
It is. I've seen some fabulous productions here over the years, including Yerma, which I thought was absolutely outstanding. I think the space around it, so where I'm standing now, just to give you a flavour of what it looks like, we've got the box office just to my right, and as we walk through, we are on the cut, and we've got the cut bar here, so you've got lots and lots of tables. The food is excellent in my experience, and then you can walk upstairs. There's more seating out there, and there's actually an outdoor terrace, which is probably not all that well used at this time of year, but there's plenty of space to enjoy a drink and something to eat before or after the show. And I was thinking, Salma, maybe I could take you backstage. How about that?
Oh, I'd like that. I always want to go, but I like going to the theatre, but I'm always curious, what's behind the curtain?
OK, well, we are going through the door that says Backstage. I've never been here before, so this is quite exciting for me.
I feel like this is another one of those things, Harry, like the cricket thing that you've set up purely for yourself.
Yeah, there's an element of that, definitely. So we're backstage, and there is all kinds of paraphernalia here. There's a radio, which is very on brand, I would say. There's some dolls. There's all kinds of different equipment and tools that perhaps help manufacture some of the props that will be used on stage. And then we walk through another door which says "This way to stage," which you know means we're heading in the right direction. And we go along a corridor, and along this corridor is all the different types of outfits and the costumes which will be used by some of the stars of the plays which take place here. And I'm delighted to say that one of the plays, which is coming to the Young Vic soon, in fact opening as soon as Tuesday, is Mandela, a new musical. And I'm even more delighted to say that I'm joined by one of the writers. Good morning. Would you like to introduce yourself, Greg?
Yeah, good morning. I'm Greg Dean Borowski, one of the writers on Mandela.
And we've just stepped into this auditorium where the 400 or so ticket holders will be coming on the first night. Tell us about this space and how this has come together.
Oh, I mean, to be here in the Young Vic is an absolute dream come true for us. One of the coolest, freshest theatres, as you said, one of your favourites, if not your favourite. So for us, it's really exciting to be here and to be putting on this show here, which I think is a little bit unexpected. You know, when people think of a Mandela musical, they may expect an older, classic type of show. But the Young Vic just gives us a very new, fresh, young perspective, which is the angle we've taken. So it's pretty exciting.
And we're looking out on stage now. We can see the spotlights are twirling, Salma, and there's a brown stage. I think it's supposed to represent some kind of mudflats, and then I'm told it's not completely finished, but there is some barbed wire. Greg, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're obviously set in South Africa. Surprise. And our set designer, Hannah Beekler, who created Wakanda, she spent a lot of time, she did the Black Panther movies. She spent a lot of time in South Africa doing research. And she's really given us a feel for the texture and the world. And the show itself is kind of done in more of an abstract way. So you really do get the feels and the colors and the textures of the world. And we move pretty quickly through the show. So it's more of like an outline of a set than actual literal sets that come in and go off, because there's a lot of movement, a lot of fusion with the music itself. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to see.
And Salma's going to ask you a question or two in a moment, but just before she does, I wanted to know if you would give us a little bit of an introduction to some of the music that's going to be in this show.
Yeah, so I think we got a couple of songs that we're going to play for you. We've done a little mixtape mashup, from what I understand. Two of the songs. The first one is called Fire with Fire. It's essentially the moment in the show where Mandela and his comrades realize that they're not getting anywhere by protesting peacefully against the apartheid regime, and they decide to take up arms and to fight fire with fire, and that sets him on a course of starting the army to fight against apartheid. And then the other song that you'll get a clip of is called Masihambe. It's essentially it's basically towards the end of the show where he's being released from prison, and he sings about the possibility of what's out there and the future and where do we go from here. So yeah, it's a bit of a top and a tail, but should give you a little glimpse.
With fire, time to fight fire with fire. Defenseless, no more helpless, no more. We're not lambs to the slaughter. We need guns. Our people rage, ready to explode.
Greg, I want to ask you, Mandela the musical. I'm not going to lie, I love musicals, but I love musicals. I've never put Mandela and a musical together.
Right. Well, hopefully this will be a nice surprise for you, Salma. It's actually crazy to us when we've been speaking to people. They all kind of have a similar reaction of like, how does that actually work? Which is exciting for us because, you know, we've been working on it for quite a while now, 7-8 years in New York. So it seems like a natural fusion for us. You know, the music in South Africa and part of the struggle against apartheid, it was so core to the movement. So it's really exciting for us to tell this story. There's so many dramatic moments. The way that Mandela's arc goes from being the young revolutionary to starting an army, you know, journeying towards becoming the older, peaceful, reconciliatory man. So there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of excitement, and a lot of action, movement, music, and hopefully a lot of people singing along.
Tell me a little bit, Greg, about the genesis of this story, the origin story, if you will, of Mandela musical. Who was sitting around a room when they thought, do you know what, this is how we want to bring this story to life in this particular way?
Sure. I don't know how much time you have, Selma, but it's been from the time my brother, I was actually visiting him here in London. We went to see some show in the West End, we don't remember. We were sitting on the tube. I'm talking about 2005, must have been about 17 years ago, and he turned to me and said, you know, how has the story not been done? And so we dived into researching and really, really getting to know the story on a lot more personal level. And it took us about 8 years of really just, you know, treating it as a passion project, working on the side, until we met the Mandela family, and we were truly blessed for them to have embraced the project and the idea, and they came on board, and we partnered with them in 2014. So we decided we were going to move to New York and start developing the show. So we've been working on it since then for the last 7 years, and we were planning on doing this production last year at the Young Vic, but then the pandemic came, and we've pushed it out a year. So we're just so thrilled to be here, and can't wait for you all to come see it.
I mean, absolutely devastating to work on something for that many years and then a pandemic hit just at the time that you want to go live with it. But thankfully you prevailed and persevered. And here it is now. I think, Harry, I think you said it starts on Tuesday. How long's the run for?
Yeah, we start on Tuesday, first preview the 29th of November, and we run until February 4th is the last date.
Amazing. Well, people know where they can go. Harry, are you going to get yourself out the theatre, or are you just going to be running wild behind Backstage for a while?
Yeah, I'm like a child in a sweet shop here, Salma. I'm going to potentially gad around the stage. I'm going to talk to the director actually in the next hour, so hopefully I'll find another vantage point.
Maybe up in the gods.
All right, up in the gods it is. It looks quite high, actually, so yeah, that could be quite fun.
It is. That's what they call it, the gods, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get yourself up there.
The nosebleeds, as they call them in the States.
The nosebleeds, absolutely. Yeah. All right, you get yourself up there, Harry. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Greg, thank you so much for your time. Mandela, the musical. Never thought those things would go together, but as Greg has explained, it's actually a really natural combination.